There we go. Hey everyone, welcome to another Swift XR workshop session. We're happy to have each and every one of you with us today. Um, Today is going to be pretty interesting, I must say, especially for those of you who use Shopify. Without further ado, let's get this party started. Quick introductions. My name's Oluwatosin. I work on the community team at Swift XR. Our agenda for today is simple and straightforward. First things first, for those of you who do not know what Swift XR is, we will start with that to give everyone an idea about what Swift XR is. And after that, we'll talk about some Swift XR use cases. And then we get into the most interesting part of the day, which is our live demo where we get to go over these things. So if you use Shopify for your business or for a client, this is the workshop for you, right? So today we're mostly going to be talking about how you can boost sales on Shopify using 360 views to showcase your products, basically. Right. So yeah, with that, I guess we can start with what exactly is Swift XR. So Swift XR itself is a no-code web platform where you can create your interactive experiences and showcase it on the web. And this is very useful, as we found out, for businesses and designers, as well as developers that want to create interactive experiences on their websites to achieve their goals. This could include sharing designs a bit faster to clients, or it could be boosting your sales on platforms like Shopify, for example, right? And that is one of the reasons why we're here today. So basically, this workflow, like you saw earlier on from the video, is you have your 3D model, or you get one from the library, you upload your 3D model, you publish, and you embed on your website. That's it. And with that done, you can either view these projects in augmented reality, which is basically placing that 3D model on your real world with your mobile device, or you could view it in VR, or you could just view it on the web page, which is a bit more interactive than taking a look at a flat image, right? You can see the different dimensions, you can see different things about that particular products that you're sharing. And this can be very, very useful for clients, especially clients that are far away from where exactly you are and they really want to see what a particular product would look like before they actually purchase it. So having SwiftXR solve this problem for you is a very, very good choice, I must say. All right, then, moving over. I've mentioned a few bits already, but our key focus is our non-technical users. Not everyone is a code wizard. Not everyone knows how to write different programming languages. But with SwiftXR, you can also embed things on your website in 3D or AR or VR without having to write a single line of code, right? So for our non-technical users, this would include business owners that are running their Shopify website themselves. This could include so owners of businesses who do not have what it takes to have more people on board to do the technical bits, right? And another thing which we pride ourselves in is the ease of use of the platform. It's pretty straightforward. It's drag and drop. It makes life easy for anyone who does not have any programming or technical background, right? It's as easy as it gets. Right. So if you're also a developer, you're looking for a quick iteration to get um, a project in AR up on the web really quick, this could be the tool for you as well. Right. So for 3D artists that do want to showcase their 3D designs on the web without the risk of people um, copying their work or making use of their 3D models, you can easily share on a platform like SwiftXR. People can view it. Say you have a client you're working with and you want to showcase what you're working on without them having actual access to the 3D model. SwiftXR should and will do that for you as well. So once again, businesses looking at client engagement, you want to get more users on your website and get them to stay longer as well. So say for example, someone wants to buy a particular furniture item, right? They could go on your website and sometimes they just see an image of it. Oh, it looks nice. And then users don't have so much attention span, and then something else might take them away. But if you have something much more interactive that they can rotate, play around with, viewing their environment, this increases the amount of time they actually spend on your platform. And the more time they spend on your platform, the higher the chances of them buying that product from you. Right. So let's talk about SwiftXR across the web. There's so many places where you can use SwiftXR at the moment, with our main topic today being Shopify. So Shopify is one of those web platforms where you can use SwiftXR to embed 3D AR or VR content on your website, your store in Shopify. And that's going to be our primary focus for today. But outside of that, there's so many more platforms that you can use it. So say, for example, if you have your store across multiple platforms, feel free to use SwiftXR across those platforms as well. And the interesting thing is, if you have a 3D model you're using on one platform, you can easily use that same 3D model for the same product on another platform, right? And that does not change a thing, and it does not cost you anything extra. So here are a few platforms we're currently on, and this is a few more that we're on as well. But what exactly does SwiftXR offer in terms of this interactive, immersive content? There's so many things that you can do with SwiftXR. Here's a few. For example, you can track analytics of how many people are viewing your interactive experiences on your website directly from the SwiftXR platform, and this can give you an idea of the products people are actually checking out, right? And then you have access to millions of 3D models thanks to our libraries. We have a huge library of 3D models available within the platform itself. And then if you're looking at putting your experience on a VR headset like the Meta Quest, you can easily share this experiences you create on SwiftXR to these platforms and make use of it there as well. So with that being said, the features, there's so many features primarily focused on augmented reality, virtual reality, and 3D in general to check out your 3D models on your website. So this ranges from creating animated 3D characters. So if that's something you're into, there is that option as well. And it also includes AR features like image tracking, face tracking, plane detection as well. And for people with stores that have multiple products, right? So say you have multiple products and you have 3D models for everything, you do not need to create a single project for each and every one. We have an indexable, an e-commerce 3D viewer that allows you to index multiple 3D models that can be used across your stores. Right. So with all this being said, let's talk about some of the use cases. How have these features been used, or how are they currently being used within the SwiftXR ecosystem? The real estate industry uses AR a lot in these days, and VR as well, for on-site inspection or for um, checking out buildings that have not yet been physically built, right? So concept designs. So say, for example, you're an architect working on something really good and you want people to see what it looks like before you even start construction. AR or VR is a very, very suitable medium for that. And with SwiftXR, you can easily achieve this by getting a 3D model of the proposed building on SwiftXR and this can be shared to as many people as possible. And here's the good news. They can check it out on their mobile, they can check it out on their desktop, because, especially in 3D, because SwiftXR is available across these devices, and you do not need any additional application to view it. All you need is the browser on your device. So say you're an artist showcasing your artwork as well. If you sell your artwork on Shopify, this is another way to boost engagement for the people who love your work. This is a way to get new customers as well. Because if people can see your product on your wall even before purchasing it, it gives them it gives you a higher chance of them actually purchasing that product. And yeah, the same is the story for e-commerce as well. It's being used across a whole lot of vendors on Shopify at the moment to sell their products. And with that being said, I'm hoping to answer any questions that we might have in the comments. Please do let me know. And please let us know where you're joining from as well in the comment section. And with that being said, without further ado, we would get into the live demo, which is the most interesting part of this workshop session. And I know each and every one of us are looking forward to this. So let's get started. What exactly are we going to be working on today? So a quick rundown. We're going to be focusing on creating experiences on the Shopify store that can actually boost sales. And how exactly do we go about this? Let's start by switching. Let me see if I can switch my screens real quick. Awesome. So this is the first bit here. So here is a very simple Shopify store. I believe yours would be definitely better, much better than what I have here. But within the SwiftXR mini store that we have here, the idea is when people see your products, they can see pictures of your products here, and when they click on it, they can easily see a 3D model of that actual product that they want to purchase. In this example here, a chair, right? With this, they can see what exactly the chair is all about, and then they can easily view it in their space as well. Especially for people who are very skeptical about purchasing furniture items and looking at how they would fit in within their environment. So with this feature here, augmented reality is not primarily available on desktop versions. And the reason is that you would mostly need a camera to view your world, and then that 3D model is superimposed, it's overlaid on your world, right? So the best way to access this is via your mobile device. It's the easiest way to go about this. But that does not mean you cannot still view it in 3D on your desktop, right? So if you scan this QR code, you should be able to see that 3D model of the chair within your environment, right? So our goal for today is to take a look at how we can make this and how we can help us boost sales as well. So to move on from this, if we go back here and select another product here, we can see the same thing here as well. We have a sofa, and then users can easily interact with this even before they actually take a look at the product itself. And there's so many ways you can go about this, and we're going to go through it step by step on how to set things up within your Shopify store. And if we go back here, we have this last one, and this is how your regular product would look like without having any 3D model within the page itself, right? There's barely anything to do. It's just take a look at the image, and that's about it. All right then. So one interesting thing I will tell you is, or what if I told you that all the images you see here of this product were actually generated on SwiftXR? All right then, give me a moment. We'll still go over that. So what you want to do to get things running would be, first things first, ensure you have a SwiftXR store, sorry, a Shopify store, pardon me, up and running. Ensure you have a Shopify store up and running. And once your Shopify store is up and running, I want to believe if you're part of this session, you do have a Shopify store active already. And if you do not have a Shopify store yet, we do have in-depth videos talking about how to set up your Shopify store as well. Right. And moving on from that, now that we have our Shopify store set up, it's a very simple store. The first thing we want to do is ensure that we have products available. So if you go over to your Shopify products, at the moment we have about 3 products in here, and each product itself has its little tiny details and then the image for this. So how does this actually work? I know you might have questions like, okay, I have products on my platform. How do I actually get the 3D models on that page? How exactly does that work? So the beauty of Shopify is the ability to add in multiple apps that can help you build the perfect website, the perfect store that you want. And in this case, SwiftXR 3D AR Viewer is one of those apps. Right. So if you go over to your apps, you can search for the Swift XR. If you just type in Swift XR in the search bar, ideally the first one that comes up should be the Swift XR 3D AR VR viewer. And once you found that, yes, you've gotten the actual thing we're looking for. And once you click on that, if you're very new to this, which I believe a lot of us would be, all you have to do is install it. And once you install it and add it to your store, there are a few things you'll be required to do at setup. So the first thing you need to set up before you get into this page here would be adding in your API key. And what the API key does is it helps you to connect your SwiftXR account to Shopify. So yes, we've not created a SwiftXR account yet. So one thing we're going to do is go over to SwiftXR and actually get things started. All right then. To get that started, let's go over to swiftxr.io. So once you're in on swiftxr.io, what you want to do is sign up if you're new to the platform. So I'm just going to sign in on my end. And once you're in, you should be greeted with this dashboard. And here in the dashboard it's pretty straightforward. In the home page, you should see your reset projects. And then if you go over to projects as well, you can see projects currently available on your local device. But say you work with multiple devices, say you have a work laptop and you have a personal laptop, and maybe you are working on something at work, and when you got home you wanted to continue. There are cloud projects as well. So fire project has been published, it would be available within the cloud project. So sometimes you might see the projects on your device and you're like, no, I have more projects than this. All you have to do is just go over to your cloud projects and you can find your projects that have been published there. Right. With that being said, if you feel like, oh, okay, this is a bit overwhelming, where do I start from exactly? One thing you can do is go over to the templates and then start your project from a template. The idea here is to give you a good foundation, a place to start from, without having to create things completely from scratch, right? So we have different templates across different categories. So go over there and select what exactly you want. And if you're still unsure about how to go about things or how to get started, no worries, that's completely fine. That's why we're here today. So what we then want to do is go over to create project. So we can create a new project here. And I'm then going to call this say Shopify product. Maybe add something like store in front of it. And then once we create our project, we're greeted with the editor itself. And the editor is split into three major parts: the left side here, the middle here, and the third side to the right. So the first part here has a list of different options here. So you start with like the components, and these basically are your building blocks for your project, right? These are your building blocks for your project. You do not need to bother about everything else that we have right now. Let's focus on getting a simple project up there. So under 3D, this is what you might want to use a whole lot over time. We have different components, right? So we have the augmented reality viewer, a virtual reality viewer, and just as the name states, it gives you an idea of what you can do with that particular component. So what we're going to start with here for our Shopify products generally would be something as simple as an augmented reality um, component. And with this, there are different ways you can get your 3D model. So a 3D model is basically the digital representation of your product in this case, right? So if you work with a team of artists, for example, you could have them create a custom 3D model for you, right? But if you do not have one, you can contact SwiftXR, and then you can order a custom 3D model. So if you select order custom 3D model here, you can get a very qualified 3D artists within our community to get something for you. And moving on from that, you can explore our model library as well. And this has access to millions of 3D models that you can use, right? And then if you want to be a bit more, adventurous, you can try out our image to 3D AI tool. And what this does basically is it allows you to take a picture of your physical product, and then it generates a 3D model based on the picture that you have taken, right? And this is a very good way to get custom 3D models for relatively simple products that you might be selling. And then last but not the least, we currently have our scan real world objects in beta. This is a concept where you can use your mobile devices that are capable of doing this to scan an actual physical product. And then when you scan it, it generates a 3D model of that physical product, which you can then use. And for this, there's much more information within our documentation as well. All right, then. So what I would be doing for today would be getting one 3D model from our library. So once again, we do have the built-in SwiftXR library, and we also have the Sketchfab library. And this gives you access to a whole lot of models, right? So to start things, I will pick a very simple model here. Say, for example, this accent chair. I'll select this and download that. And now we have a simple 3D model of a chair within this big white screen here, which is our canvas, right? So now that we have this, if we look over to the right side here, you can see now that we have some details here that show different information about this 3D model. But we do not want to concern ourselves with too much at the moment, right? Let's take things step by step, so we don't get overwhelmed, right? We have our 3D model here already, and what we just need to do here is hit publish. That's all we need to do for this. So if we hit publish, this compresses the file to ensure that it has a decent size. And once you hit publish, you can easily test what your project would look like on the web. This is a link that you can share with anyone at the moment. This is just a website link that shows you the 3D model of your chair. Awesome. And then if you go back to SwiftXR, you can also generate a QR code of your model. So say, for example, you also have a physical store, right? Beyond your Shopify store, you also have a physical store where you sell this exact same product. You can use this QR code as an image to show the description of your 3D of your product itself. So say, for example, someone walks into your store and they're like, okay, I really like this chair, but I'm not so sure how it would fit in within my environment. So in cases like that, it's very difficult to it might be very difficult to convince the user that, oh, this will fit in. What you can then do is tell them to scan this QR code. It takes them to the link to where this particular to the actual digital version of the product, and then when they get on, they can actually try it out themselves and see if it works for them, right? That could be a way to go. So that is one. And then finally, there's also the option to embed this. So say, for example, you're working on your own custom website, you can do this as well. But for today, we're not going to be focusing on this because our core focus is Shopify. All right, then moving on from that, now that we have that published, there is a URL link for this actual product. And that URL link is going to be pretty vital to getting that particular product on Shopify. But before then, remember, when we were on Shopify, we have this API key here, right? If you connect your account directly, you should have access to SwiftXR. But for the API key, you can easily get that if you go back to our hub. So you can easily go back to the hub here and you can get that directly from the hub. Moving on from this as well, there are a few more bits that we still need to touch on in here. But before then, what we can easily do is we can take this link here, or if you go back to your project itself, I can open this up. If you go back to the project itself, you can easily just go over to share and then copy the link from here. That is one thing that you can do as well. And then if I go back to Shopify here, I can easily do something like this. Sorry. I can, if I have my products already, I can go back to SwiftXR and then click on link a 3D product view. So if I click on link a 3D product view, I can select. So this will give me a list of all the products available on my store, and then I can select one of them. Say, for example, I select this table. Probably we should have used the table there. But here's where things get interesting. I'll click on add, and then I can just paste in the link to that my chair there. And once I do this, I can then just save my entry. And once I save my entry, if I go over to the product page and then load this, it's a chair, but we have a table here. That doesn't make total sense. But here's where things get interesting. So say you make mistakes like this sometimes. One thing you can easily do is go back to your project, and now you can easily just remove this And then not upload, library, go over to your library. I actually do have that 3D model of the table here. So one thing I can do is get that table and then just download that. That way it replaces what I had there initially, and then hit publish. And now this wouldn't cost me anything to update it at this point in time. So once that's updated and I go back here and refresh this page, voila, now we have the actual table. And if we go back to our Shopify store as well and refresh this, same story. So now things match. So that way, once you've linked your 3D product already, you can always make changes to that particular project, and the changes reflect immediately, and you do not have to go through the process of linking your 3D model to your product again. I hope that really helps. Right, so now we have our table here. Remember I mentioned that I was going to show us something about how these images were generated. Right, what thing we are going to do here is we're going to create a new product within our Shopify store. So to do this, let's head back to SwiftXR itself and let's create a new project. Stay with me on this. So let's create a new project and call this new Shopify product. And let's hit create. And then now that we have this, we can add in augmented reality component again, and let's go over here and add in, say, this beanbag. Looks cool. So now with our beanbag here, let's say for some reason you sell your digital product, or you sell your physical products before they're actually manufactured, right? So you wait on orders before you create a physical version of your product. One thing you might need in cases like that would be images of the model of the product that you have at that point in time, right? So one thing you can easily do here is use the snap feature available on SwiftXR to get like really, really good angles of your product. So here I can just hit snap and generate a simple image of that beanbag, save that, and then I can, try and get another angle and then just hit snap and do the same thing and generate that. So now we have two good images of our beanbag. So what we can then do here is publish once again, which this is a new project, by the way. This is a new project, by the way. So now that we have that published, we can go back to Shopify and then go over to our products and add in a new product, right? So let's add in a new product here, and we're going to call this a bean bag. And with that, I would add in descriptions at this point in time. We can easily add in the two images for our beanbag that we generated. Awesome. So now that we have this, let's say a price. Maybe give this about this. And then you can always just add in all these other options depending on your product. And then we can easily save our product, and then it's already active. And if we go back to our store and then just scroll down, we should see our beanbag now. So we can see that we have multiple images for our beanbag. And now what we need here is something a bit extra, because right now there's really nothing else to do to stay longer here to decide if I want to get it or not. So let's head back to SwiftXR. And now that we have this published, we can copy our link once again, go over to Shopify, and then we can link this product. So to do that, let's head back to SwiftXR again and then link a 3D product here. So let's select our bean bag, add that, and then we can just paste in our link here. And once we do that, we can see it here and we can save our entry. And now that that is done, we can go back to our store, refresh this page, and now we should have a 3D model of the beanbag here. Simple and straightforward. So we've been able to generate images of that beanbag. We've been able to get a 3D model of that beanbag, and then you can still view it within your space, especially if you're mobile. And with that being said, you can create your own store. You can create as many projects as you want. So now there's something to keep in mind. When you start creating a whole lot of 3D models for your products, it can get really, really stressful to create a project for each and every one of them. With that being said, we would talk about a much suitable options, especially for people with multiple products across multiple categories. So say, for example, within your store, you have a category for chairs and you have a category for tables. Let's take a basic example. One thing you can do, and this is something we've seen people do as well, is you can create a project for each category that kind of helps you sort things out. So say here, I would create a new project and call this Shopify chairs, and hit create. So with my Shopify chairs here, instead of us using the augmented reality component, I can use the indexable 3D component, right? Which is that e-commerce viewer we talked about. And the idea here is you can add in as many as 10 different 3D models in one project. So here, for example, I can add in a new entry. So if I click on add new entry here, I can then get a 3D model. So say for these are our chairs. I would start with this bar stool as the first option. Right now we have this here, and this has entry ID 1. You can make changes to this if you want to by overriding the entry itself, but you do not need to do this always, right? So we'll leave that as it is, and then our next option here would be to add a new entry, and this time around I'll add in another chair. We've used the beanbag and accent chair already. We can get the lounge chair here. Okay, you'll use this as well. Now we have 2 products, and let's see if we can get a third one in there as well. And let's see, maybe this dresser will do. Awesome. Maybe not the dresser. Let's keep that under the table. Let's go back there and get another one. Okay, this should do. All right then. So now we have 3 different digital products. Each has its entry ID. But if we look here, we see that we have this parameter name. So this parameter name defines how you share the link for each of your projects. Because when you publish this project, all you're going to have is still that same SwiftXR link. But what we've done with this is allow you have parameters that helps you load different 3D models within the same project. So if we copy this right now, or just click on open project here, this wouldn't load any 3D model in particular. And that is simply because we need to add in a parameter name and an entry ID here. We have more information about this on our docs, But the easy thing to do here would be to add in a backward slash, and then we add in a question mark, and then we add in our parameter name. So that would be SWF in our case because we didn't change it. And we have in an equals to sign, and then we have 1 here. So if we hit enter with that, we should have our first 3D model. And then if we switch this and select 2, we have a second 3D model. And if we switch this and select 3, we have our third 3D model. So you can do this for up to 10 models, right? So with that being said, we can easily copy that link, head back to Shopify, and then maybe we want to generate some snapshots for our models. So let's head back here and start with our bars tool. So we can do snap, generate that, and we can move over to our other chair and we can do the same thing, snap and generate that. And last but not the least, we can move to the third one as well and generate a snap of that. Now that we've done this, we can get ready to go back to Shopify and make some changes to our product. So let's go over here and I'll add in a new product and then just call this it goes Barstool. Give it a price at least, and then save this. All right, then let's go back to product. We could actually duplicate that. We forgot to add in the image for it. So let's upload a new one for the Bosch tool. There we go. And then we can save that. And then we can create a new one. And then let's just call this a lounge. And we can add that in here. Permit my name in here, and we can save that. And last but not the least, we can add in a new one here, and that's the where's Fulton? Is that what it was called? Then we can add that here as well. Where are you? Give it a price once again and save that. And now that we have those 3 new products, we can go over to link those products. So we can come back here and start from our bars tool, add that in, and then we can just switch the IDs here. And once you switch that, you can save, and then you can link another product. And this is with index ID 3, and then you can save as well. We can link another product, and that will be this guy. And that's with ID 2, I believe. Right, so now that we have all of this, beautiful. If we then go back to our Shopify store and scroll, now we have more products. And with more products, if we check it, the link still works as fine as it should. So what we've done here is with one project, we've been able to generate 3D models for 3 products. And with 2 projects, we did that for 2 products. So especially when you're dealing with a lot of products, the best approach is to use that indexable 3D viewer to have multiple 3D models within one product and then use them across your store for your various products. That would be the way to go. There are few more quality of life improvements that you can always make to your uh, project. You can definitely try out a few more things. If you head back to the SwiftXR platform, there are a few more things that you can do. For example, you can have multiple options for your products. So say if you go over to customization options, you can enable customizations for the different parts of your 3D model. So say for example, with this 3D product within the leather here, I want to have multiple colors, right? I can add in a variant here, and with this variant, I can have a simple color, a red color. I don't know if you can see the changes it's made to that. You might not see you might see it slightly, but it's kind of like dark green, and that's because the base color itself is black. So if you add anything to that, it's not going to be as obvious. But one other thing you can do is you could have textile materials. So for example, I have a African print image. Let me just see if I can bring that in here. Just a moment. Give me a second. Where are you? Okay. Let's get that. All right then. So what I can do in here is I can go over to my files and I can easily just where's upload in here and get that from this place. Right. So once I have this, I can add in a new variant here and then add in a base texture to that variant. So I can just drag and drop this here, and this is what it looks like. I can add in tiling to this. So if I were to give this about 10, that's too much. This is what it looks like. Maybe I don't like that. I'll give it about 5, drop that by 2. See what that looks like. Yep, that is fine by me. So now this is a variant of our chair, right? This is a variant of a chair that we could have. This is one variant, and then we could add in another variant as well. We could just be a simple black variant in here, right? That could be it. So now that we have this, you can also have more options in here to provide more context to your product. One would be using the 3D the hotspot labels rather. So with the hotspot labels, you can add in a new hotspot in here and say this is the leather. I know that's a bit obvious, but you get the idea. And then for the second one, and then I would just say this is wood. Maybe you're just talking about the textures for each part of your product. Now that we have this, you can preview this as well. And one thing we can do is let's just publish that. Let's publish that real quick. And remember, we need to add in the parameter name and the index ID easily so we can view that. So now that we have that, if we go back to our Shopify store and then refresh this, let's give it a bit. Wait for that to load in. It is taking just a bit of time. Wait for that to load in. And this is one optimization thing we always talk about as well with using a lot of 3D models. It's best that your landing page itself doesn't showcase a lot of the 3D models, because what that does is it slows down the load time or increases the load time for your web page. So it's best to have maximum, say, 2, 3 3D models on your landing page if you want to. But what you can then do is, once they have things like this and then they click on them, they can easily then they can just load the 3D models for that particular object. So you don't have to load 3D models for all of the objects when they're not being viewed at the same time. So now that we have this, you can see here we have this pointing at this is leather and this pointing at this is wood, right? This can be very, very useful if you want to provide more context to your product. And then the customization options as well for your product. You can change the leather, and this can be used to at least select what exactly you want within your product itself to buy. And still, that can be viewed in augmented reality. Those are a few bits. There are a few more quality of life um, options available within the Swift XR editor itself, and it's up to you to try things out, see what you want. And please, if you have any questions at all, feel free to let us know. You can email us at support@swiftxr.io, and if you want to be a part of the community as well, you can email us or join our Discord server. The links in the description, and you can email us at community@swiftxr.io. Right. So a few more bits that we can do here. We can take the background, for example, and then just play around with taking off the opacity for the background here, and then just updating that, for example. And if we go over to this bit here and refresh, you can see that it feels a bit more natural to the platform. If the colors match, it feels a bit more natural. By the way, this here is used to reference the model that was actually used. If it's your own custom model, you do not need to have this here. And by the way, you can remove this as well. So all you can just have is your 3D model. But it is recommended that if the model is not yours, at least attribute it to the creator of the model. So if we go back here again, a few more quality of life stuff that we can do. We can delete this for just the purpose of this session. We can take this out as well. So if I go over to my layers here, I can see that as well and just take it out. And then with this, we can publish. And yeah, things look a bit more natural. That I would say it looks a bit more natural as compared to the way it was before. And that is just taking a bit of time. There we go. Pardon my internet. And now that we have that, if we go back to our Shopify store, we can see how clean it looks. It looks way cleaner now. Like that is actually part of the website. It doesn't feel segmented from the entire website itself. So that can be something fun to do to improve the quality of life for your experiences as well, and just improve the overall UX. So once again, this here allows you to increase the amount of time users spend on your product page. And the more time they spend on your product page, the higher the chances of them actually purchasing a product. And I believe that would boost sales within your Shopify store. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We are always happy to answer them. Anything at all, please feel free to reach out. We're always and ready to answer your questions, support you in whichever way we can, And then, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us in this workshop session. I hope you learned a thing or two regarding boosting sales on Shopify itself. And yeah, we look forward to seeing your stores on Shopify powered by SwiftXR. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your evening. And once again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at support@swiftxr.io. And if you're interested in joining the community, you can join our Discord. The link is in the description, or you can contact us at community@swiftxr.io. Thank you all so much and have a lovely rest of your evening.